Hi, I'm Sarah from Sarah's Shed, and in this video I design and start to make a Japanese-inspired wooden stool, get sidetracked learning dowel joints and make a tabletop out of old floorboards, and hopefully I'll also finish sanding these chopsticks I made from hinoki cypress in Japan, so I can use them. The smell of the cypress oil is incredible as I sand these. Here's a photo of the workshop where I made them. It had a huge pile of hinoki cypress shavings in the middle from all the students making the chopsticks. See those neat little boxes with the jig? It helped you shave them in the right shape. Very cute. Yeah, so from chopsticks to chainsaws, I also spent the afternoon on the end of a chainsaw trimming a huge fallen gum tree and explore the possibility of milling it for timber. Just imagine how many woodworking projects I could use for it into the future. It's a lot of stools and a lot of chopsticks. And yes, it's very much open fire weather, so I've also been trimming the smaller wood from the fallen tree and making it into firewood so we can get the fire going. Nice. So thanks for stopping by Sarah's Shed. Nice to have you along for this adventure. And let's start with the onsen stool, which was inspired by my trip to Japan. Here's a photo of me in the onsen or bathhouse with the stool that caught my eye. It's made with traditional joinery. Check out those square dovetail joints, no nails or screws. I've never done that before, but I want to give it a try because it looks so nice. And those dovetails don't look too hard, they're pretty big. Now, here's version 1 of this stool, an orange one I built a few years ago with the leftovers from the reno. Very sturdy. I was pretty proud of it, my first stool effort, and I have used it in the garden, moving it around, following the sunny spots for a cuppa. But it is really heavy and honestly a bit of a pain to move. And I've realised that I really value light furniture, things that I can move around, like my outdoor table which I use as a workbench. So if you want a lightweight stool, then you need better quality timber that's hard, durable but light. Enter kiln-dried hardwood plantation timber, which we can get at our local hardware store. And it's not cheap. These 4 pieces for my stool cost me $150. Now I don't mind, as I really want to make a nice stool and I know how long it takes to grow a big tree and to trim it up and dry it nicely. But it did get me thinking a bit more seriously about sourcing my own timber from our place. But before we get to the timber story, let's continue with the stool project. I decided this was one for the men's shed where I could get some more help with the joinery and learn how to use some more of their tools as well. So I've been down there for the last 3 or 4 Thursdays talking to the fellas and working on it. I started with the design, had to decide how tall exactly and how wide, and I wanted to use these square dovetails to join the top and the sides, but I also wanted to try using dowels to join the sides to the bottom piece, so I'm really aiming for no nails or screws in the whole piece. So yes, after measuring and trying a few different heights, we took into account the width of the timber we could actually get our hands on and then made a rough version of off-cut plywood to practice the dovetails on the bandsaw. The really snazzy thing was that John, who's a super experienced carpenter and the shed manager, showed me how to mark the joints out so they match exactly, and it was such an elegant method, so quick. I was really impressed. Just line them up, butt them together, and then use a piece of offcut that's the width you want to make the dovetails and just draw parallel lines with it across. next week I came back and cut some more dovetails with the bandsaw on my rough ply version until I felt really confident with it. And then I decided to move on to some different off-cut timber to have a go joining with dowels. I started with a couple of old floorboards from the off-cut bin, but they were so nice when they were joined I got a bit enthusiastic, found a few more, next thing you know, joined them all up and made a little tabletop. So now I have this little side quest to build a little table. And that took me in a bit of a different direction, but you know, sometimes that happens. So after I got my piece shaved to an even thickness, then I got a lesson on how to use a router. to put a curved edge on both sides of the tabletop, and I had my very first go. I absolutely loved it. So next week back at the shed, I did manage to find some pretty nice pieces of old fallen gum limbs. Got them in the back of the car and got them down to the shed and got some help selecting the right ones that had a kind of interesting shape, a bit of a curve and not too thick.
Right.
Yeah, I'll put them in the cupboard. No, I'm actually looking to have a coffee machine at home,
Oh, yeah.
but I don't need a fancy schmancy one.
Just need a stovetop one.
Hello Mags, how you going? You're pretty chill this afternoon, hey? Oh, bit of a stretch. Oh yeah. See ya. Last year I began thinking to plant some fast-growing native species that are good to use for firewood, and that is still something that I might do. But so far I haven't needed to plant any new trees, as I had some success coppicing these red gums and using the rapid new growth for firewood. Now, what is coppicing? It's where you cut trees down quite low and let them grow back multiple smaller branches. It's a technique to help manage the size of your trees, and the way that I did it here, cutting them down low between knee, shoulder or head height, it really means they shoot out their branches a lot lower, creating a great privacy screen along our boundary. So within 6 months, I got myself a fabulous native hedge, packed full of little native birds, I might add, but it also got me a source of firewood to harvest. So the plan is to cut down roughly half the new branches every alternate year, then dry them out and use them for firewood. But recently I've also been thinking they'd make pretty good chair and table legs for other woodworking projects. And then a big tree came down one afternoon. We were in the house and we felt this huge thud. I mean, we did hear it, but mostly you feel it, a huge vibration like a short earthquake going through the house, and you just know that's a big tree or a big branch come down. And when we went out, this huge old limb from one of the old gums had ripped from the collar and dropped to the ground. And it's really huge, that one branch the size of a big tree trunk. And right away I wondered, could we mill this one for timber? And there are a few options for small timber mills where you can take fallen logs, and I recently met a guy with a portable mill that would come to our place, so of course I began to investigate. So I balked at the cost at first. It's a lot of money. It's going to cost about $1,000 to have the timber mill here for the afternoon. But then when I thought of those 4 small pieces of timber that cost $150, all of a sudden $1,000 doesn't look like very much at all. So guess what? We're going ahead with it. And there's a large, very bendy overhanging gum that's at risk of dropping on our car park, and we're having an arborist take that out pretty soon too. So that can also be milled at the same time, and really will get a lot of value and a lot of timber into the future. But there's a lot of prep to get it ready for the milling. It needs to be trimmed back so it's a clean trunk. So I picked a nice Saturday afternoon, fired up the chainsaw and got to it. I started from one end and worked my way down to the other. And there was so much smaller stuff as well, all fantastic for firewood. Right from little kindling to some pretty decent sort of logs. So I kept hauling those down and chucking them over the fence and doing a few exercises to keep myself not too stiff, and mowed it on most of the afternoon until I had it done. And what a difference it makes to trim all that little stuff off. You can really see the wood now and imagine the lengths we can get off it when it is milled. And you know what? I wasn't on my own that afternoon, because overhead in the gum tree were these 2 white cockatoos. One was a youngster, a bit of a whingy teenager, complaining to mum how hungry they are. When is dinner? So thanks for spending time with me in Sarah's shed. I really appreciate the interest in watching the videos. Please do lend us a comment, put a comment in, or ask a question or give some advice. Let us know what you're doing that's similar or different. I'd really be happy to hear from you. And until then, see you in the next episode.